Item presented was a set of enameled coffee spoons. They were made by David Anderson, one of the most prestigious Scandinavian silversmiths. Anderson was renowned for his enamel work. Dating back to the 1930s, these spoons hold significant historical value. They were from the Art Deco period. The quality of the enamel work was highlighted as exceptional. The decorative nature of the spoons was emphasized. The appraiser assessed their value, based on their craftsmanship and historical period, to be around.
They're marked up at £140.
Quite a lot for some.
Letter from Eleanor. Bucks signed with care reveal a friendship wonderfully rare. The guest brought 2 signed Eleanor Roosevelt autobiographies.
These are 2 autobiographies of Eleanor Roosevelt.
Her great-grandmother, Emmeline, had written to Roosevelt about an essay. They became friends, and the guest also had newspaper articles about Emmeline's visit to Hyde Park. The first letter from Roosevelt was dated July 10, 1948. Roosevelt praised Emmeline's essay and invited her to visit. The items, though in poor condition, were valued good.
Estimate the collection at about $1,500 for insurance purposes.
The guest thanked the appraiser for the evaluation. Diamonds are more than just precious stones. They hold stories of generations past. A guest brought in a diamond and sapphire ring, likely from her husband's grandmother, estimating it to be from the early 1900s. She admired its beauty and usually wore it only for special occasions. Recently, she considered wearing it more often, except for activities like yoga. The appraiser dated the ring to be around 1925.
The center stone here is a sapphire. It's about 3.65 carats.
It is flanked by 2 antique cut pear-shaped diamonds, each about 0.75 carats. It has detailed millgrain and filigree with 0.65 carats of old European cut diamonds. A notable aspect is the signature inside the hoop, identifying it as a Tiffany and Company piece. Tiffany was known for high-quality materials during that era. The sapphire, despite being slightly abraded, boasts a beautiful royal blue color.
Might have been mined in Burma.
Known for its exquisite sapphires, the appraiser suggested lab certification to confirm origin and treatments. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
Conservatively at auction, this ring is in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $50,000.
Oh, my goodness, wow.
So you absolutely want to have that extra homework done.
Right,
and probably want to have it insured if you're going to wear it, because the insurance could be upwards of $100,000.
Oh my goodness.
The lamp was originally purchased by the guest's grandfather's uncle, likely prior to World War I. He had a distinct affection for tulip lamps, but sought a shade with more tulips than typical models of the era. Consequently, he placed a special order for a unique shade featuring an abundance of tulips. This lamp was bought new from the Tiffany counter at Marshall Field's in Chicago for $500. The cost included $125 for the base, $250 for the standard shade, and an additional $125 for the custom work.
An extra border row along here, and then there would be areas of soil depicted in the shade and less tulips.
The appraiser notes that this particular shade deviates from conventional designs, usually including an extra border and soil. Instead, this shade emphasizes a rich display of tulips and stems, with minimal soil representation. Tiffany studios often accepted special orders, enabling customers to personalize their pieces, adding to the lamp's uniqueness.
He garnered lots of commissions for windows in churches throughout the Midwest and the interior of Marshall Field.
Marshall Fields played a significant role in Tiffany's history in Chicago, prominently displaying Tiffany's work. The appraiser highlights the exceptional qualities of the lamp's glass. It features vibrant red phosphate stringing glass and unusual ripple drapery glass, materials likely unavailable by the 1920s.
It has wonderful patina both on the base and on the leading. It's in fact just what a friend of mine...
Dated around 1915, the lamp is praised for its righteous patina on both the base and leading, indicating excellent preservation. Notably, the lamp retains its original cap and base, a rarity as many pieces have been separated over time. Tiffany Studios encouraged customers to mix and match shades and bases, making this combination especially valuable. The appraiser estimates that at auction, the lamp could fetch between $150,000 and $200,000.
I would say, to be on the safe side, I'm going to say that I would date this around circa 1915. It has wonderful patina both on the base And on the leading,
For retail or insurance purposes, the appraiser assigns it a value of $375,000.
so thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you.
Imagine inheriting a brooch tied to one of America's greatest industrialists, Andrew Carnegie. The guest inherited it from her aunt, who was married to Carnegie's business partner.
I received it as part of an inheritance from an aunt who was the wife of a partner of Andrew Carnegie in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
She was drawn to it because of its unique combination of elements. The appraiser admires the step-cut jade, diamonds, fluted rock crystal, and coral accents. However, the outer rim seems out of place, appearing to be from the 1940s. The center, on the other hand, is clearly Art Deco from the late 1920s. Upon closer inspection, the appraiser finds tiny numbers and a hidden signature. The brooch was made by Van Cleef and Arpels, originally a dress clip. Over time, someone added a yellow gold circle brooch, hiding the signature. The appraiser suggests the guest could remove the addition, but may leave it as is. The appraiser estimates its value.
We'd estimated $5,000 to $7,000.
Wow,
which is
that's
great.
extraordinary.
If it was intact, probably $10,000 to $15,000.
No kidding.
The appraiser noted the rarity of Rozenburg vases. The guest shared how her mother received the vase during a 1970 visit to England.
The mothers hit it off. We were shown around. My mother admired this, and as we left, it was given to her.
A friend invited them for tea, where her mother admired the vase. As they were leaving, the vase was gifted to her, almost casually. The guest explained it stayed in her mother's home until about 7 years ago. After inheriting it, she looked online but found no detailed description. She decided to keep the vase in its box, storing it in a closet. The appraiser praised the vase as a stunning example of Rozenburg craftsmanship. He highlighted the company's prestigious status in the porcelain world.
It's delicate in every facet. Rozenburg worked in several series, but this particular line is done.
He described the rich history of Dutch ceramics, transitioning from blue and white designs. The vase, made from eggshell porcelain, was noted for its delicate and translucent qualities. The artwork featured an intricately crafted bird and a chrysanthemum. The appraiser mentioned Rozenburg's establishment in 1883 and its production timeline.
At auction, I would estimate this at $2,000 to $3,000. Surprised.
He pointed out the marking indicating its origin in The Hague. Samuel Schelling, the artist behind the design, was also acknowledged. To her surprise, the appraiser estimated the vase's auction value at $2,000 to $3,000.
Oh my gosh. Gosh, I really didn't have any idea.
In a collection of reindeer reports lies a rich tapestry of Alaskan heritage and survival. The guests shared that they owned 17 Sheldon Jackson reindeer reports from 1893 to 1906, noting it was just part of their collection. They explained that their grandfather was a reindeer herder, and his name appeared in some of the books, sparking their interest. The appraiser expressed gratitude for the opportunity to learn about reindeer in Alaska. They admitted they hadn't known that reindeer were introduced to the region.
Here on the coast were sea mammals, so whales, walrus, and seals.
The guests clarified that the caribou, a close relative of the reindeer, is indigenous to Alaska. They elaborated that their ancestors relied on sea mammals for food, such as whales, walrus, and seals, and in the 1800s, many of these animals were taken by whaling ships, leaving little food for their communities. Sheldon Jackson, an education agent, recognized this food scarcity. He heard that other countries were raising reindeer for food, prompting him to try the same in Alaska. The appraiser found the reports fascinating as they documented the government program.
Photos in there, there are maps. We can look at a photo. It does show milking reindeer. The female reindeer were only meant.
The appraiser noted that individual volumes were currently selling for approximately $100 to $200 in the retail market.
Is individual volume selling for about more like $100 to $200.
Mm-hmm.
A family's legacy unfolds in a single painting, revealing a world of history, artistry, and unexpected value. The guest said the painting was passed down from their father and grandfather.
This is the medal that was pinned on my grandfather, which...
Their grandfather worked for the Chinese Maritime Customs Service from 1913 to 1914. The guest mentioned their grandfather received a medal for becoming Inspector General. He was the last foreigner to hold that position before it went to a Chinese official. The appraiser listened, intrigued by the guest's family history. They noted that the painting was purchased directly from artist Baishi.
Here he does them masterfully. When you look at it very closely, you can feel the resilience.
The appraiser warned that many Baishi drawings are forgeries.
Now, if you look at the bodies of the shrimp, for example, their bodies are translucent, but the heads...
They praised the shrimp in the painting, highlighting Baishi's skill. The appraiser described the shrimp's translucent bodies and darker heads. They emphasized the movement created by the shrimp's whiskers.
Thoughts. There's one philosophy called Gonbi, which is doing more realistic representations, and then the other one is Shi.
The appraiser shared that Baishi was born in Hunan province in 1864 and died in 1957. They noted his best work came later in life, in his 50s, 60s, and 70s. The guest admitted they had never had the painting appraised. The appraiser estimated the painting's auction value at $30,000 to $40,000.
Have you ever had it appraised?
I never have, no.
Okay. Well, I would be very comfortable placing an auction estimate on this drawing at $30,000 to $40,000.
You're kidding.
The guest expressed disbelief at the value, having no idea it was so high. The appraiser recommended insuring it for at least $70,000.
I would insure it for at least $70,000.
That's amazing.
3 beloved dolls hold the secrets of a family's history and surprising value. The guest explained that the dolls belonged to their mother-in-law, who received them at the age of 8.
Created the Raggedy Ann doll. So he was an illustrator and he wrote these books. If you look at the condition of Ann and Andy.
The dolls had been displayed on a little bench in her front room for as long as the guest could remember. After the mother-in-law's passing, the family inherited the dolls. The appraiser identified the dolls as Raggedy Ann, Andy, and beloved Belindy. They noted that Johnny Gruelle created Raggedy Ann in the early 1900s as an illustrator and author.
Seeing your dolls, all 3 of them, but especially I love seeing beloved Belindy. I've never seen her in person.
The appraiser explained that Ann and Andy showed signs of being well loved, with worn cloth indicating their age. They mentioned the dolls were among the earliest, made by the Volland Company around 1918 to 1919. The appraiser discussed how Raggedy Andy was created as Ann's companion, with Belindy as their caretaker. They highlighted that the story in Beloved Belindy features dolls coming to life when adults are absent.
They were in her bed with her every night and brought her a lot of love and joy, too.
The books themselves don't have a lot of value. They're about $25 each.
The appraiser expressed excitement at seeing Beloved Belindy, but acknowledged her representation of racial stereotypes. The guest shared that her mother-in-law moved frequently, likely relying on the dolls as her only friends. The appraiser estimated the value of Ann and Andy at $200 to $400 each, and Belindy at about $900, surprising the guest. A family heirloom rifle reveals a rich legacy and surprising value. The guest said the rifle belonged to their grandfather, and possibly their great-grandfather. They remembered it stored under the bed and requested it after their grandfather passed. The appraiser warned against storing guns under beds. They identified the rifle as made by the Star Arms Company of New York, founded in the late 1850s. The appraiser noted it was a cavalry carbine for Union Army use, contracted late in the Civil War. They explain the evolution of firearms with self-contained metallic ammunition.
Away you go. Well, this is that evolution of being a cartridge gun. It's a breech-loading carbine, which means you load it from the breech.
The appraiser demonstrated the breech-loading mechanism for easier loading.
Close it up. Once you cock the hammer, you're ready to go. Star got the order very late in the war.
They noted Star began delivering these carbines in March 1865, just before the war ended. The appraiser pointed out that only 5,000 carbines were made, sold as surplus after the war. Many surplus guns served during the Franco-Prussian War. The appraiser remarked that this rifle was in pristine condition and likely unused.
It's in really nice, completely untouched condition. And it doesn't have a French arsenal inventory number on the back of the butt.
They estimated rough examples might sell for $800 to $1,200, while this one could fetch $2,500 to $3,500 at auction.
Bring somewhere in the $800 to $1,200 range, maybe a little bit more in an auction setting. This is a super crisp gun.
Amid the chaos of war, a comic book page emerged as a treasure that would redefine expectations. The guest presented a page from The Defenders No. 1, dated 1972. They purchased it online while stationed in Iraq in 2006 and 2007. The guest spent around $7,000 on the page using combat pay.
That's how good this page is.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Because no one else ever seems to like it but me, so...
Well, you've met the second guy that likes it, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
After a year of waiting, they finally received the page. The appraiser confirmed the page's authenticity and expressed excitement.
Prior to this, you have the Fantastic Four, you have the X-Men, you have the Avengers, you have all these people that have come together as a concrete team.
He noted the significance of the Defenders as a unique Marvel team.
Revolving door of characters that were included. I mean, you had Valkyrie, Son of Satan, and Luke Cage. They included Silver Surfer.
The initial members included the Incredible Hulk, Doctor Strange, and Namor. From 1972 to 1986, various characters joined the team. The appraiser praised the artwork by Sal Buscema and Frank Giacoia. The guest recalled a previous appraisal in 2011 for just $400, which disappointed them.
Whoa.
And I wouldn't be surprised personally if that high estimate would be exceeded, if not doubled.
The appraiser estimated the page's auction value at $15,000 to $20,000.
Comparison, being original artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting excited. This is awesome.
I'm just like looking at this. That's more than I paid for it.
The guest was astonished and expressed their belief in the page's worth. The appraiser mentioned that a recent auction saw the cover sell for over $250,000.
The cover to Defenders 1 brought over $250,000 at auction.
The guest presented a silver soup tureen passed down through her family for generations. She shared that her great-grandmother was from Louisiana, speculating its origins. Her family has a connection to Braxton Bragg, a Confederate general. The appraiser noted the piece's potential ties to her Southern heritage. He identified it as Southern coin silver, highlighting its rarity. He explained the lack of silversmiths in the South before the Civil War.
Silversmiths there, so by the nature of there not being a lot of silver made in the South, examples are much more rare. Additionally, the Civil War was fought primarily in the South.
Many silver pieces were lost during the Civil War due to looting. This tureen is unusually large and made by a New Orleans silversmith. It features the maker's mark Hyde and Goodrich, in business since 1816.
And they went into business in 1816 and made very, very fine silver.
The design is based on traditional English forms, with gadrooning borders. It has cast lion handles and a beautifully chased dog finial. The appraiser noticed its substantial weight of about 100 ounces.
It's quite heavy. I weighed it before we came on camera, and it weighs about 100 ounces. It is coin silver.
He clarified that it is coin silver, with a lower silver content than sterling. He estimated its auction value at between $10,000 and $15,000.
Up at auction, conservatively, it would bring between $10,000 and $15,000.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
The guest reacted with astonishment and excitement at the valuation. Imagine a treasured family heirloom from China purchased in 1931. The guest shares that her father bought the figure while stationed there as a naval officer. She remembers her father's love for the piece when he first saw it. The appraiser identifies the figure as Guan Yin, the goddess of mercy. He describes her distinctive features, including long robes and a cowl. The appraiser notes the intricate inlaid silver wire in the bronze figure. He mentions inscriptions on the front and back, indicating its origin. The workshop known as Shiso produced similar pieces dating to the 19th century. The appraiser praises the figure's excellent condition and patina. He estimates its selling value at auction.
I think in an auction sale, it would make between $8,000 and $12,000.
The guest expresses pride.
My father would be so proud. He'd love this.
Imagine a cherished family document from Newburyport, Massachusetts. The guest reveals it belonged to her great-great-great-grandfather, a man of color. This document allowed him to travel south to visit relatives in 1815. Her father passed it down, and they deeply treasure it. She also introduces a worn chair they call the grandfather's chair. They aren't sure which grandfather it belonged to, just that it's a family heirloom. The appraiser examines the chair, noting its wear and history. He confirms the document is a passport, notarized by a justice of the peace. Despite some damage, he praises its historical significance.
But essentially,
It's a great historical item.
The guest expresses surprise when the appraiser confirms it's a genuine Windsor chair. At auction, the appraiser estimates both items together.
At auction, the whole package is worth $2,000 to $3,000.
Okay.
The guest emphasizes the chair's deep family significance.
We treasure both items, and this chair has a lot of bottoms have sat on it, and we love it.
We have here a small baby chair and cupboard with blends of local and indigenous influence. The guest inherited this colonial chair and trastero from her father,
Texas, and then on over to Hatch, New Mexico.
Spanish settlers in New Mexico made these items in the 19th century. Trastero, which means cupboard in Spanish, was common in New Mexico.
Trastero is exactly what you'd call it in New Mexico.
The chair has minimal ornamentations, focusing on functionality. Looking closely, there are evident condition issues on both items, considering their age and the soft ponderosa pinewood used in making them. Their rarity sets these items apart and adds to their value. Reflecting on its rarity over condition, this culturally expressive chair should sell for
$1,800.
Okay.
At auction, this rare and robustly constructed cupboard would fetch
to $5,000 on the Trastero. And I'm so thrilled you brought it.
Thank you. I am too.
A rare Tang Dynasty horse statue holds a fascinating history and impressive value. A guest shares that her husband found a horse statue in an antique shop in Tokyo.
My husband was flying out of the Pacific right at the start of the Korean War, and he flew into Tokyo, found it in an antique shop, and bought it.
He paid for it in installments, bringing 7 cartons of cigarettes each time. Eventually, he paid off the balance in cash before returning to the States. The appraiser asks when this happened, and the guest replies it was in 1950. She mentions she was on the Antiques Roadshow in Atlanta in 1997, where Mr. Mark Mason Jr. advised her to authenticate the horse. The appraiser explains the thermoluminescence tests used for this type of piece. He adds that Tang Dynasty horses are rare and valuable, especially those with 3-color glaze. The guest learns about her horse's insurance value.
2007, the market's gone down a bit. It'd be about $80,000 insurance now. Okay?
Wow. That's still...
Before us unfolds a canvas of unbridled joy, vibrant hues dancing in perfect harmony. This exquisite painting, passed down through generations, was a personal gift from the artist to the guest's father-in-law's father. This magnificent artwork is the handiwork of Jack Pemberton Cowan, a visionary artist of unwavering excellence. Born in Bristol, Tennessee in 1920, Jack's love for nature and art blossomed early. After serving in the United Air Corps during World War II, he honed his craft at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York. His artistic journey took him to Texas, where the vast landscapes, majestic wildlife, and rugged coastlines inspired his most iconic works. Unlike his characteristic works, this painting showcases a lesser-known aspect of Cowan's artistic versatility.
A little note about it being Howard Hughes Sr., and it gives a date of 1912.
The letter's 1912 date provides context for the artwork's subject matter, but the painting's actual creation date falls within Cowan's active career.
It mentions that this drawing was given to your relative in 1954. So presumably, it was actually painted sometime in the early 1950s.
This painting is technically referred to as a work on paper, indicating its medium and composition.
And I call it a work on paper because it's a combination of more than one media. We certainly have watercolor, which we can see in the sky area, but we definitely have gouache.
Howard Hughes Sr., the subject of this painting, was a visionary inventor.
Invented the 64-tooth drill bit, which was created to drill through rock.
The painting captures Howard Hughes Sr. experimenting with his groundbreaking innovation. Given its unconventional nature within Cowan's oeuvre, valuing this artwork requires a nuanced approach. Nonetheless, auction estimates suggest
$8,000 to $12,000.
Okay. Thank you, Mom.
Exploring the crossroads of sentiment and sports history, the guest presents an AFL and NFL memorabilia collection like no other.
62 Houston Texans AFL ring, a 1966 Kansas City Chiefs AFL ring, and this great game-used jersey.
This remarkable assembly of memorabilia pays tribute to Smokey Stover's remarkable achievements and enduring legacy.
How do you know Smokey Stover, and how would you bring this stuff into us today at the Roadshow?
The guest has a deeply personal connection to Smokey Stover, being the legendary athlete's son. From the dusty plains of Oklahoma to the gridiron glory of the American Football League and Canadian Football League, Stuart Smokey Stover's remarkable journey is a testament to perseverance, adaptability, and championship mettle.
He went to Northeast Louisiana University. He was a fullback there.
Raised in small-town Oilton and Vidalia, Oklahoma, Smokey's early life forged his toughness and determination. At Murray State College and the University of Louisiana at Monroe, Smokey's fullback prowess earned him a spot in the school's inaugural Hall of Fame class in 1978. However, it was his unexpected conversion to linebacker by coach Hank Stram that ignited his professional success.
So let's have a go at it, and they had a go at it.
Well, they certainly did. They rose in the rankings, and in 1966, they had a great year in the AFL and ended up playing in the Super Bowl.
As an original Dallas Texan, Smokey helped shape the team's identity and secured a historic double overtime victory over the Houston Oilers in the 1962 AFL Championship. His subsequent move to the Kansas City Chiefs cemented his legacy as a key defender in their 1966 AFL title triumph over the Buffalo Bills. The first ever AFL-NFL World Championship game showcased Smokey's skills on the national stage. His final act in professional football was a triumphant one, securing the 1967 Grey Cup with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Canadian Football League.
All the players that used to come by the house and sit and talk, and just being a little guy and hearing all of these stories was pretty amazing.
Smokey's story extends beyond his impressive stats and championships. It's about a man who embodied the spirit of his nickname: tough, resilient, and always ready to face the next challenge. His legacy inspires generations, reminding us that with hard work, dedication, and a willingness to adapt, greatness is within reach. This dazzling Dallas Texans ring is the first highlight, symbolizing championship excellence, with an estimated insurance value of
$30,000. Okay.
Following that, we have this exceptional AFL championship ring, valued for insurance purposes at,
believe it or not, same thing, about $30,000 insurance.
Okay.
The pinnacle of this collection is this exceptional game-used jersey, a true treasure for any sports enthusiast.
You wear this shirt underneath this before you go on the field. That's actually his undershirt and the game jersey, and that's his from the Dallas Texans.
Considering its impeccable heritage and pristine state, this legendary game-used jersey carries an insurance value of
$40,000.
$40,000. That is wonderful.
A stunning Renaissance revival necklace by Carlo Giuliano dazzles with timeless beauty. The guest received the necklace 40 years ago.
I got it 40 years ago from my ex-husband, who is now deceased. We had been together for a few years, and
they had been married briefly, and he was generous and tasteful. He bought the necklace from an antique store on 57th Street in Manhattan. The guest originally thought she would receive it for her birthday, but got a Warhol portrait instead. The necklace was a Christmas gift, and her husband told her it was from the 1700s. The appraiser identified it as a Renaissance Revival 18-karat gold necklace. It features cabochon peridot and Burmese rubies. The piece is attributed to Carlo Giuliano, a master jeweler. According to the appraiser, its insurance value is...
You have to insure that piece of jewelry for $120,000 for the set.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome.
A 529-year-old woodblock print offers a stunning view of Nuremberg's history. A guest brought in a woodblock print of Nuremberg, believed to be from a book published in 1493.
Today I brought in a woodblock print of the city of Nuremberg, and I believe it comes from a book from 1493.
The appraiser confirmed it was an original woodblock print, 529 years old. This print features a bird's-eye view of the city and was created by Hartmann Schiedel. It was part of the Nuremberg Chronicle, a unique blend of religious and historical content. The appraiser noted the print's high-quality lines and original hand-painted gouache and watercolor coloring. He mentioned that many Nuremberg Chronicles were printed in black and white, making this colored print special. The guest expressed interest in the print's historical accuracy, pointing out exciting landmarks like the city wall and castle. The appraiser remarked on its excellent condition, noting its original center join. Much to the guest's delight, the appraiser estimated its retail value.
I would put a retail value on it of about $2,000.
Wonderful. That's great.
Thank you for bringing it in.
A guest discovers their father's art purchase is worth a stunning $50,000, far beyond their expectations. The guest explained that their father bought the artwork in the 1970s from Gustave Baumann's widow. The piece, titled Rain in the Mountains, was purchased for $125.
Bought it for like $125 along with another one, which was like Aspens in the Mountains or Spring in Aspens. He also gave that one to me.
Baumann was originally from Germany, but became known for his work in the American Southwest. He created the original woodcut in 1926. The guest's print was from the 4th edition, finished in 1956. The appraiser admired the vivid colors and the way the rain was depicted. The guest estimated the value to be around $2,000. However, the appraiser revealed otherwise.
I would put a replacement value or insurance value on this at $50,000.
Oh my God, that is so much more than I thought.
I think it was.
Oh, that is so much more than I thought.
Yeah.
The guest was shocked and thankful for the information. This Victorian house not only has an ornate design but also timeless charm. For generations, the Dawes family has owned a grand Victorian estate built with shipping money. Drew visits William Dawes, the current owner, hoping to find some hidden treasures in the house. It has been in the family for 300 years. The estate, known as Mount Ephraim, has been cared for by the Dawes family since the 17th century. William takes Drew inside, where they admire the unique design. That includes a staircase with cast iron painted to look like wood. Drew is inspired by the mix of styles in the house, which reflects the family's travels and appreciation for different cultures. William mentions that his mother is a hoarder, with the basement and various rooms filled with old furniture. Drew's excitement grows as he enters these so-called junk rooms, eager to uncover valuable antiques. He finds a 19th century Chinese export table, albeit damaged, which he negotiates to buy.
Sort of £450 as it stands, $250 because of the damage.
Next, they head to the basement, where William shows Drew some old cannons, hidden away after being stolen once before. Drew is thrilled to discover 3 cannons, for which he negotiates.
Get $600 out of it, so I'd want to pay a little bit less.
Yeah, sure.
Can we say £500 for that one? So £1,500 for the 3.
With the deal done, Drew prepares to take the antiques back for restoration. The cannons, tied to the family's shipping history, are particularly special. After some conversion work, Drew is pleased with the result, noting that preserving the authenticity of these items adds to their value. Our guest brings a unique piece of lawn furniture, a rocking chair made by their grandfather, George C. Hyde, in the 1920s. The chair, originally made for the guest's grandparents, was passed down to the family, and
we got this chair, we think, somewhere in the 2000s.
George C. Hyde, who went by Ted, was a talented metalworker, known for his humor and ambidextrous skills, producing a significant amount of work, from furniture to fences. The appraiser admires the chair's modern design, noting it could easily be mistaken for a 1970s creation.
This chair was made, I'm guessing, late 20s. Marcel Burer made the Wassily chair in 1925, a tubular chair.
The appraiser highlights that the chair is made of aluminium, a material that had only been used in America since 1924, showcasing Hyde's innovative craftsmanship. This chair combines aluminium and brass, with the seat developing a beautiful verdigris patina from being outdoors. Describing it as a revolutionary piece of modernism, the appraiser estimates the chair's auction value to be at
would be $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
And I think on a good day, maybe much, much more.
That's great. That's great.
Our guest brought in a commissioned painting by Rusty Hurlin, acquired by their grandfather in 1964 while the family lived in Fairbanks, Alaska. This painting was ordered from Hurlin after a visit to his home in Esther, Alaska.
My grandfather went in a separate room with Rusty and discussed what kind of painting he wanted, and then they left, and about 3 months later, they had this nice painting delivered to their home.
The artwork was passed down through the family, from the grandfather to the parents, and eventually to the guest and their spouse, now proudly displayed in their home. Our guest fondly shares that the painting symbolizes the allure of Alaska and its frontier.
Stake in the frontier of Alaska, so I always had this in my mind of just going to the unknown. And then I finally moved up when I was 18.
The appraiser explains that Rusty Hurlin, originally from Sweden, moved to Alaska after serving in the military and remained there until his death at 90 in 1986. The painting, done in oil on canvas, features the Northern Lights, a musher and the snowy landscape, capturing the quiet and serene essence of Alaska. The appraiser estimates the auction value of the painting to be at,
I think maybe around $75,000.
Okay. Wow. Was not expecting that. That's quite astounding. Don't plan on selling it. It's a family piece.
Our guest responds with delight, emphasizing its sentimental value and their intent to keep it in the family. A guest brought 2 pieces of silverware that had belonged to their grandparents. The guest had stored the pieces for about a decade before polishing them back to their shiny condition over several days. The appraiser identified the pieces as Victorian silverware from the 19th century, marked with London hallmarks. The term Victorian silver refers to antique English silver made during the reign of Queen Victoria, 1837 to 1900. The first piece, a silver tureen dating to 1841, featured rococo elements with sea scrolls, shells, and a pomegranate finial symbolizing fertility. It was likely a wedding gift for a well-to-do couple, as the engraved Mauritial arms indicated. Also, there was a beautiful cartouche on the front, with a large bird in the middle. The second piece, an 1883 silver wine ewer, showcased a satyr mask, alluding to its intended use for wine. This piece also had Gothic arches and 4-pence coins embedded into its design. It was indeed an unusual and possibly custom creation by the silversmiths Aldwinkle and Slater from the famous silverware firm established in 1838. The appraiser expressed excitement over seeing 2 such extraordinary pieces from the same owner and valued them at,
I would say that for insurance purposes, the tureen should be valued at $20,000.
Pleasantly surprised.
The ewer, $10,000 insurance for that.
All right.
Our guest grew up in Biloxi, Mississippi, with a family connection to George Orr. Her grandfather worked for Geo, George Orr's son, and the family received several pottery pieces as gifts. Unfortunately, a cleaning lady accidentally put one of the vases in the dishwasher. George Orr's pottery should never be washed in a dishwasher. This little jug was a wedding gift to the grandparents. This is a photograph of George Orr's pottery, and these are George Orr's bordello tokens.
Everything it has, because of the provenance, would easily be at auction $15,000 to $20,000.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
The item in question is a Vectrex, a unique video game system from 1982. In the early 80s, the guest's parents constructed a retirement home on the far eastern tip of Long Island, where there was no cable TV or internet. His father, who had previously worked at Gimbel's department store, purchased the Vectrex. The appraiser identifies it as a remarkable piece of video game history, highlighting its vector display technology, which uses drawn lines instead of pixels. The Vectrex is highly sought after by collectors, especially when accompanied by its games. A particularly valuable component of the system is the 3D imager. The guest mentions that the 3D imager wasn't purchased by their mother. Instead, it was found boxed away.
This in 1982 would have been $199. That was the retail cost of a Vectrex back then.
Sounds like a lot for 82.
Upon rekindling interest in the Vectrex, the guest discovered the missing accessory and purchased it online in 2011.
Video game accessory, but the reason why in particular it is so rare is that 1983, the video game world was turned upside down.
The appraiser asks what the guest paid for it back then, and the guest responds with $615. The appraiser praises this investment, providing context that the retail price of the Vectrex in 1982 was $199, which would equate to over $500 today. Quite significant for that era.
I'm also going to be the first person to try this on right now, because I can't even imagine.
The appraiser mentions that, in today's market, the imager alone can fetch between $2,000 to $3,000. The appraiser agrees, saying that the entire collection could easily command $3,500 to $4,000 at auction.
Unbelievable. It's the last thing I would have ever expected to see here today.
A rare gold bracelet with exquisite gems reveals a family's cherished Art Deco legacy. The father gave the mother a wide diamond bracelet, but she refused to wear it. He then had a narrower bracelet made for her, but she said she would keep it in a safe deposit box. He told her this new bracelet couldn't be returned because it was made just for her. She loved it because it was beautiful. The bracelet is engraved with her name and the year 1939, placing it in the late Art Deco period. The bracelet is made of gold and features top-quality diamonds, sapphires, and rubies. According to the appraiser, a piece like this could sell for...
A piece like this would sell retail somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000.
Wow.
A brother's connection to Beavis and Butt-Head turns into a valuable animated treasure for his sibling. The guest's brother worked at US Animations on Beavis and Butt-Head. He predicted the show would be a hit despite its poor animation.
They hadn't even finished, and he said, we're making this cartoon for MTV called Beavis and Butt-Head. He says the animation is horrible, but it's going to be a big hit.
The brother gifted the guest original artwork from the show. This included the iconic couch background used in many scenes. The appraiser confirmed its significance in animation history. The couch is valued
at auction. I would not be surprised to see it sell for between $2,000 and $4,000.
Okay.
For that piece on its own.
Wow.
The character sketches are worth around $1,000. While estimating a value of both, the appraiser said,
you're looking at around $1,000 as a pair. So all in all, we're looking at $3,000 to $5,000 at auction.
Nice. That's a nice little bonus.
Rare southern needlework from the 1830s discovered at an estate sale could hold hidden historical value. The guest found the piece at an estate sale in Birmingham, thinking it looked old. The appraiser asked if it was expensive.
I found it at an estate sale in Birmingham, and it just looked old. Was it expensive? No.
The appraiser pointed out at a patched area at the bottom, noting it was likely added to complete the large design. The piece is made of silk, with silk needlework and watercolor, probably created by a wealthy schoolgirl in the 1830s. Southern needlework from this period is rare due to humidity, insects, and the Civil War, suggesting it could be worth more with further research. The appraiser valued it.
I would think at auction, this would likely fetch $6,000 to $9,000. If you can attribute it to a specific academy and figure out some of the other pieces of the puzzle here, you might double that.
The guest was intrigued by its potential value. A guest presented a rare over-the-shoulder E-flat soprano sax horn, which he found in a junk shop in 1967 in Louisville, Kentucky. At the time, he paid no more than $5 for it as a college student. The instrument, made of German silver and featuring 3-string actuated rotary valves, dates back to around 1865 and is linked to Civil War regimental bands. These horns were used in military formations, with the sound projecting over the shoulder. The appraiser highlighted its unique design, with reinforced garland around the bell to prevent damage.
Peters and Bro.
Yeah.
And that's all it says, nothing else. And that probably is original to the horn, but I tried to figure out who Peters was. I've never heard of Peters.
Which has kept the horn in excellent condition. Despite its age, the instrument is largely undented. The only marking on the horn is the name Peters and Bro, leading the appraiser to believe it was likely sold through music merchants rather than being made by them. The craftsmanship is attributed to a major manufacturer, possibly from Boston or New York, given its construction style. This type of over-the-shoulder horn is one of the rarest, and its intact condition makes it even more valuable. The appraiser estimated its current market value to be between £4,000 and £5,000.
But you can find a mouthpiece for it. It's such a beautiful little thing.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's good to know.
Though it is missing the mouthpiece, which can be replaced. The instrument's historical significance, rare design, and remarkable preservation make it a truly exceptional find. A guest presented a beautifully enamel-decorated vase, given to her by a neighbor who had received it from a family member in Florida about 40 years ago. The guest knew little about the piece, but it turned out to be of great significance. The appraiser immediately recognized the vase's distinctive flambe colors.
But what makes it really important is who made it and who decorated it. It's marked with a Royal Doulton mark. The Royal Doulton manufacturer in England.
I've heard the name, yes.
And enamel decoration, linking it to Royal Doulton, a prestigious pottery manufacturer from England. What makes the vase truly special is its jewel signatures. It is marked Sung, a style influenced by earlier Chinese sungware, and also signed by Charles Noak, the chief designer for Doulton from 1899 to 1941. Noak was known for his mastery of glazes, particularly of the greens, blues, and flambe reds seen on the vase. This piece, made between 1920 and 1940, is a premier example of Noak's work and Doulton's artistry during that period. In excellent condition, the vase showcases perfected glazing techniques that make it highly collectible today. At auction, the appraiser valued it at between £3,000 and £5,000, much to the guest's surprise. The combination of craftsmanship, historical significance, and the prestige of Royal Doulton makes this vase a standout piece.